overcam them, but in the summer, I tried not to overcam you, and I hope I did not yesterday, because we covered a lot of ground yesterday, and we, talking about the, starting with the definition, physical change, chemical change, and all that, a sig fig, scientific notation, rounding, and then we get into dimensional analysis. Now, dimensional analysis is basically the calculation part of this course, and as I said yesterday, and this particular course, even next course, Chem 101, 102, there are only two things you need to understand. One is the definition. Definition, you don't really have a choice. Whenever we mention a particular terminology, you just have to remember, you just have to memorize them, because many of the questions in homework and quizzes and exams are based on the definition. If you don't know how a particular term is defined, then you won't be able to answer those questions. Okay, so that's kind of like an easy part of it. Now, dimensional analysis deals with the calculation, and this is, once you understand dimensional analysis, you found the secret of chemistry. You can pretty much do everything and anything and everything, at least on the undergraduate level, because most of the calculations in Chem 101, you will hear me saying this again and again, this is just another dimensional analysis. All you need to do is to identify the conversion factor. Once you identify the conversion factor correctly, plug it in, and getting the result is easy. Just punching the numbers in the calculator. Everybody can do that. So the key thing here is that we will try, when we solve problems in this course there, we will try to show you how do we identify conversion factor. Okay? And once we identify the conversion factor, we have a particular way to set up the equations there. And once you get to that point, everything is quite straightforward from there. So that's the main challenge there for many of the calculation questions is how and where do we find the conversion factor there. As we showed you, sometimes the question is very straightforward. One step, you get the answer. Sometimes you need to go through many different routes and doing many different types of calculation and the dimensional analysis there. So that's the thing that we want you to be able to do. Yet I do not want to overcam you. I understand in the summer you have a very limited amount of time to process and digest information that we try to transfer to you. However, the course will be finished. This is the end of the first week, so one down, 4 more to go. The course will end by June 29th. So want to put it as a joke, but I think it may just be a little bit over the line. My weekend is coming up after today's class, and yours is not. You don't have a weekend, okay? And for the next 5 weeks at least. And you need to make sure that you spend the time, read the textbook, do the homework exercises, okay? And keep in mind, there are things when you're taking chemistry classes here or anywhere else. There are things that you have to do. There are things that your instructor, I have to do. And there are also things that we can do together. I am here to help, and you choose to, instead of going to the beach in the summer and enjoying your summer, you choose to come here and take this course, and I really appreciate that, and I want to help you out as much as I can. So if you have a question, you have to come to me, and don't be shy. I'll be more than happy to see you in my office and talk to you in labs, and whatever questions you may have there, bring it up, and do not hold on to it. We don't have a whole lot of time, okay? So if you need help, help is available, and make sure if you cannot see me in person, say if you're working on a chemistry problem 12 o'clock at night, no, don't do that. You have an 8 o'clock class there, you have to be here on time. And if you have a question there, type it in and then send it in here, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. So that's the nature of the summer course, and simply requires you to try your best to stay on top of things, okay? And we will continue our discussion, and we will start chapter 2. Matter of fact, we are just a little bit behind. And I think I probably spent a little bit too much time on day 1 talking about the course policy and all that. And so there is a possibility that the first quiz is due, I think, next Monday. I will push it back to Tuesday or even Wednesday. Okay, so there's a possibility there. And check on Canvas there. Whenever I make changes there, you will actually receive a notification in Canvas say, so-and-so due date has been changed. So I'm considering that. I don't plan on finishing chapter 2 today. I don't think I can do that because you have a lab right after this class here. And one idea that came to me after the afternoon Chem 101 class is that some people say, well, maybe it's something that's, if we can have a break, like 5 or 10 minutes break in between, instead of 2 hours straight lecture. Would that work a little bit better and help? Okay, so I'll try to pace my my lecture there. So we start at 8 o'clock, and then probably say by 9 o'clock we'll take a little break, and then you come back and we go for another hour. Okay, so just so you know, I'm quite used to a 3 hours straight non-stop talking, and so that's my wife always tells me to shut up. That's the thing there, and I was actually, prior to this summer, I was actually teaching organic chemistry, and then the way that the organic chemistry is scheduled is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night. One of the night is going to be the lab, so the other 2 nights they're 3 hours, and 3 hours 50 minutes actually straight. So I told my class, if you need to go outside, you need to take a break, feel free to do so. I don't need that. I'll just keep talking. So 6:30 to 9:50, non-stop, Monday, Thursday night. And I'm quite used to that. Yet, if it's easier for everybody to have a little break in between, I can definitely do that. And especially considering in the summer we actually have more contact hours compared to the regular semester. So I can definitely, we can definitely afford to do that. Okay, so chapter 2 will deal with some, well, in chapter 1 when we introduce the topic here, the chemistry is the science about matter. So when you study matter, you need to understand what is matter made up of. And we talked about the elements and the atoms and the compounds and mixtures and pure substance and all that. So in chapter 2, we're going to look into a little bit more details. What are the atoms, and what is the atom? What is an atom made up of? So in chapter 2, we will be dealing with atoms and elements there. And in this particular chapter, we're going to take a closer look at how the elements are. How do we understand the elements? And there are 118 different types of elements there. 90% of them are occurring naturally. So what's the difference between, say, a hydrogen atom and a nitrogen atom? So we are going to look into that. And again, reading assignment, chapter 2. And you make sure you take the time. I would expect you to finish reading chapter 1 by now already, although that may be a little bit too much. But as I said, tomorrow is Friday. There's no class on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and you got to spend the time to read the textbook there. And then when you take a chemistry class there, lecture is only going to focus on what we think are the most important things. And there are minor things, and sometimes and even important things in the textbook, and that's also something that you need to pay attention to. And as I told you on the first day, if it's a topic that we never discussed in class, I will not test you. However, you may see questions related to those topics in your homework. Okay.